All right. So now that we are refueled and have restored the energy, the engine is officially back on track. Let's roll into the technical session 1, Roadmap to Net Zero 2030, Policies, Regulations and Strategic Planning, which is a moderator-led session. For this session, we are honored to have as a moderator, Mr. Sanjeev Garg, IRTS CMIILT, former additional member Railway Board and Secretary General CILT India and former MD Pipavav Railway Corporation, and a couple of more hats that he wears as a widely respected transport sector strategist with extensive experience in railway project implementation and policy frameworks who will guide our discussion today. Please welcome him on the dais. Sir, please. Joining him are our distinguished speakers, Mr. Vipin Kumar, Chief Project Manager, RVNL, known for his expertise in railway infrastructure development and electrification project, contributing significantly to sustainable rail network. Sir. Mr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma, Chief Materials Manager, Eastern Railway, an expert in material procurement and supply chain management, ensuring efficient and sustainable sourcing for rail projects. Sir. Well, we have one Mr. Ranit Rana, AVP Jindal Stainless Limited with us here today, a key executive driving the adoption of high-quality stainless steel materials for rail infrastructure, combining durability and sustainability. Sir. And one more speaker, Mr. Priyank Purohit, Principal Product Manager, Pedrol Rahi Technologies, joining us online for the session today. A specialist in advanced rail fastening system and track technologies, crucial for safety, durability, and eco-friendly rail operations. Unfortunately, his flight got cancelled in the last moment. So, with the ongoing chaos, we requested him to join online. As we all know, the show must go on. So, can we have Mr. Purohit online? Yes, he's right there. So, I would now request our moderator, Mr. Sanjeev Garg, to lead the session, please. Thank you, sir.
Good morning to everybody, and welcome to the first session of this conference today, organized by the Indian Chamber of Commerce. We'll be, discussing roadmap to net zero 2030, policies, regulations, and strategies, planning, and sustainable railways. We have an excellent panel with us. Nidhi has already introduced them, but as we move on to them, probably I'll request the panelists themselves to briefly introduce themselves, and we move on to the session accordingly. But nevertheless, on my left, we have Mr. Ranit Rana from Jindal Stainless, Mr. Vipin Kumar. He is the Chief Project Manager from Rail Vikas Nigam Limited, and Mr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma. He is the Chief Materials Manager from Eastern Railway. And of course, Mr. Priyank Raj Purohit, who's joined us online. He is from the Pedrol India Limited. I think that's the name of the company. Pedrol Rahi, yeah. So I'll first, I think Mr. Priyank, I think Vipin Kumar, yeah. You have a presentation to make, so I'll request you to start with the presentation.
I hope I'm audible. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, ICC. I congratulate ICC for choosing a very apt topic. And I'm Vipin Kumar. I'm from the Indian Railway Service of Engineers, presently on deputation to Rail Vikas Nigam Limited. Extremely humbled to be leading few major infrastructure projects of the city, namely the Joka BBD Bagh metro project, part of the New Garia Damdam Airport, the Orange Line Metro, and the famous Kona Expressway that's coming up in Howrah district. I have a small presentation to make, so with the sir's permission, I begin my presentation. I have chosen a topic, I have chosen my treatise a bit differently for the topic. For this third Rail India Forum, Greening the Rails, Powering the Nation, I decided to treat it from the sustainable infra for Viksit Bharat point of view. And in that also from the metro railway, that because we are into the business of construction of metro in the city of Kolkata. Viksit Bharat 2047 is a dream unleashed. It's a dream and a vision led by the Honorable Prime Minister of our country to make India a developed country by 2047. And the basic tenets being convert India into an economic powerhouse, just leapfrog into a GDP of $30 trillion, which is approximately $4 trillion now. And the basic tenets include the inclusive growth, the key focus area being the economic growth, infrastructure development, social development, and technology and innovation, sustainability being the very key point, the green revolution, digital governance. We aim for energy transformation by 2030. We have major milestones of 2035 being the connectivity, that's the nation high-speed rail network implementation, the urban development by 2040, and finally a Viksit Bharat $30 trillion economy by 2047. For the people who are engaged in infrastructure construction, this is a dream unleashed truly, because we are aiming at major expansion of, say, roadways. The aim is to build and maintain 10 million kilometers of roadways. For high-speed rail, 10,000 kilometers. For metro, if I talk, this vision talks about construction of 5,000 kilometers of metro railway. For the airports, we need to increase the airports operations from approximately from 150 to 500 plus, and similarly for the port and waterways. Now, if I were to talk about the roadmap to net zero from the metro perspective, let me just give a brief background of the metro. Metro, as it is said, just by moving the transport to the rails makes the planet greener. Now, India's first metro railway was introduced here in the city itself way back in 1984. Today, we have approximately 24 cities that are operating the metro, and we have a network of about 1,036 kilometers and on date, with 779 kilometers of metro construction happening across the country. And this is very, very important, because once you shift the transport from the road to the rail, you reduce the lot of carbon dioxide emission, the greenhouse, and the other pollutants. And that is why when you are talking about you're going, leapfrogging to 5,000 kilometers, a policy initiative was required. So even though we started Kolkata Metro in 1984, DMRC came in the 2000s, 90s, but the first metro rail policy has come up in 2017. It's a very important policy, I would say, because I would just explain what the tenets are. But before that, why is metro railway important for any city? Just before I was listening that General Manager Eastern Railway was saying that we need to construct new cities. That's a different proposition altogether. When you do that, do that. But by the time you have these cities, our GDP, India cannot become Viksit Bharat just by expanding on the economy. We are expanding on the economy, but the cities are becoming unlivable. Now, that's not a very good thing. If you just increase the GDP and still we rank somewhere below in the Human Development Index and the Happiness Index, it doesn't make sense. So just talking from the transportation, that too from the metro railway point of view, if you have metro systems as your transportation, it requires only 1/5 of the energy per passengers compared to the road-based transport system. And of course, needless to mention that it causes very less noise, no air pollution, it's a very eco-friendly transportation system. And if it is underground, it does not occupy any space. And if it is a viaduct kind or the elevated, it takes just 3 meters of the median of the road. So it's a very, those of you who have traveled, I'm sure many of you have traveled there, just imagine Delhi today without DMRC. So it's a very reliable, comfortable and safer mode of transport, reduces the journey time like anything. And why we need to expand the metro railways here? India started, we have 1,036 kilometers, US has 1,406 kilometers. With the projects in pipeline, we'll probably overtake US shortly. But just see the gap between China and India. We have 1,000 kilometers, China is 11,000 kilometers. So even when we are aiming at 5,000 kilometers, the gap remains too big to be filled. Just see the daily ridership. India is 11.2 million, so it's like 1 crore people, that is the ridership here. See China, 70 million, 700 lakhs, that's 7 crore passengers China is transporting by metro. So much of population using the mass transport system, that is what is really required. Just see the Shanghai, 830 kilometers, again, just one city that has. And I was seeing in the, just day before yesterday, your government of UP is preparing a plan to have a 800 kilometers metro network by 2047. So that is the kind of expansion that we are looking at. I was talking about the Metro Policy 2017, a very important policy that talks about the PHPDT, choosing of the transportation system based on the requirement of a city. It integrates all the available mode of transport. For example, the bus transport, for example, the light rail, the monorail, the metro, etc. How do you choose? One solution cannot fit all. So it talks about, you can choose your systems in terms of PHPDT. PHPDT is a term used in it's a very common term in transportation. It means peak hour, peak direction traffic. So if metro railway is a system that's designed to cater to these high PHPDT. So very important for the, congested cities to decongest them. If your requirement is say in the order of 40,000 to 60,000 or 80,000 PHPDT, metro remains one of the best solutions. The key objective of the policy being the sustainable urban transport, the financial sustainability, the private sector participation, the comprehensive urban mobility, and the technology and efficiency there. These are the main tenets there. The implementation guidelines, and these guidelines are being adopted now whenever we are planning a new metro. It talks about early planning. Say once a city becomes too populous, you have a lot of utilities, undergrounds, etc., and the construction becomes even more difficult. So that is why it says that you should start planning once the city has a 1 million population, that's 10 lakh population. I'll deal with the subject of today's topic, that is what could be the metro railways contribution in terms of net zero 2030 or the greening the India. Say let's take a case study of one of the projects, Joka BBD Bagh project. So the phase 1 and phase 2 are already operational. Phase 3 is undergoing. We are already doing the tunneling, and it gives me immense pleasure to tell you that one of the TBM Durga, the tunnel boring machine, has crossed the Turfu area, and probably by May we would be entering Victoria Station. Now, Kolkata, if you see, there's a third point. The population has increased. The Kolkata metropolitan area has 15.57 million with a very high population density, 8304 per square kilometers. But look at this. The road network density in Kolkata is just 6% in comparison to other cities like Delhi and Mumbai, where it is 23% and 17%. And if you see the registered number of vehicles in Kolkata, which was just 7.6 lakhs in 2001, has increased to 21.8 lakhs to 2022. So where does the emission go, and what does it happen? There is hardly any scope of widening of the roads in the city of Kolkata. So where do you take these traffic? If you don't give, the customer has to travel, people have to travel. So we have to give them the alternative mode of transport, a greener mode of transport, a more sustainable mode of transport, and that happens to be the metro railway. The chapter, and in planning of any metro rail, I'll tell you, there is a very detailed DPR that is prepared, and one of the chapters, for example, here in chapter 8, deals with the environment impact assessment. So this ensures the environmental friendliness of any metro project is ensured right at the planning stage. Look at these figures. Once the Joka BBD Bagh metro section just gets commissioned, so it is expected by 2035, initially 5 lakh passengers would be using, which would ultimately rise to 7.66 lakhs. And this would take 34,000 vehicles off-road by 2035. These are facts and figures from the DPR prepared by the RITES. And it is estimated that the reduction of accidents that is happened, it's again the data. And if you see, even the Commissioner of Police recently made a statement that even though there has been a lot of reduction in the road accidents, but still Kolkata happens to be a city where there are a lot of road accidents. So we have to address these issues, and these can be addressed by these kind of modern transportation system. Look at the reduction of the fuel consumption. Once this project becomes operational, it would lead to reduction of 17 million liters of diesel, needless to mention about petrol and CNG. This is the kind of reduction in the air pollution that we can expect once the system becomes operational. Look at the carbon dioxide, 99,799 tons. That is the calculation which the DPR itself projects. apart from the other GHG. So the positive environmental impact rating that the reduction in the use of fuel, the corridor says, 99,000, that's approximately 1 lakh tons of the carbon dioxide emission. And by using regenerative braking, the corridor saves 40,000 tons of the carbon dioxide emissions. And on top of that, if you have read these days in papers, we are doing compensatory for these plantation and a transplantation. In this project, there are 1,000 trees approximately that are affected in the Maidan area, and RVNL has taken one of the biggest transplantation projects in the city. We are not cutting any single tree. All the trees are being transplanted apart from the 5 times compensatory plantation. And in the metro rail, apart from these, we are also using energy efficient solutions like we are in all the these underground metro stations that are coming up. All the metro stations are planned to obtain a platinum rating from the IGBC. That's a green building certification. In the viaduct portion, it is planned to use solar power, the use of LED lighting, and the HVAC, regenerative braking I already mentioned. And apart from that, more environmentally friendly features like the water harvesting, water recycling is also a part of the project itself. If you give me time, sir, later I will like to show you one of the videos, but before that I'll just complete. I'll take your permission later, sir. So this is a Majerat Metro. Why I'm showing this is one of the unique, this Majerat Metro, and you see this is, I've shown the planned Esplanade area. These two are, and especially the Esplanade area, once this becomes operational, it becomes a game changer. Why? Because what GM Metro Railway was also talking about, multimodal connectivity. The transport policy of 2014 also talks about multimodal connectivity. That means metro alone is not a solution. A person, suppose you are in your house, you have to access to the metro, so you can't walk, nobody can be expected to walk, 3 kilometers to take a metro train. And at the same time, when you get down from the station, you cannot be expected to walk another 5 kilometers to reach your destination. So if I have to take my car or two-wheeler from here to the metro station, I will very well go from here, point A to point B by that station. So that is why the planning has to be a multimodal connectivity where the person, the passenger, the user does not have to walk more than a kilometer or 2 kilometers. That should be the maximum limit. That is why the city needs to be planned. When the metro system is to be planned, it has to be planned in a form of circles and grids. That is why you see, if you see DMRC started in late 90s, but see that today the network of DMRC, 400 kilometers. And Kolkata started first, 1984, but we are not even 100 kilometers. So we need to expand in order to, have a better network in the city. Now, this is an example which we have already done. Majerat Metro Station, you see on the top, that is over the track, is the Majerat Metro Station, and below is the Eastern Railway Sialda Division suburban traffic. And from one platform, from the metro station, directly a passenger can go to the platform of the this Majerat station of the Eastern Railway, which means people who are coming far-flung areas, say, Namkhana side, somebody is coming from a local, Sialda say somebody is taking a local, so he gets down and he can take the metro. Nearby is the bus stand also. So people who are using the bus stand can also get down from the bus and take the metro. So that is the kind of, we are one level higher, we are planning for Esplanade. So 2 stations, the blue line and the green line are already operational. Purple line is planned there, and this is what we discussed with state government also, that we can extend it towards, the new BBD Bagh station near Eden Garden, and then take it finally up to the Ganga River, where in future, Kolkata can introduce what Kochi has done, water metro, because it has a good waterfront. You can have a water metro there, and that would make the, this line which runs parallel to the Ganga redundant, and a real multimodal connectivity can be obtained. Once Purple Line Blue Station is constructed, the South Calcutta gets connected to the metro network, and this becomes the new Rajiv Chowk of Delhi, I am telling you. Apart from this, just a highlight, we normally think that when we are talking about net carbon reduction, it's only about fuels and this. But if you see, I'll just show you here, in the construction industry, because when you are talking about project, the project is a construction and then it is operation. Construction many of you would be surprised to note that cement production alone accounts for 8% of the total global carbon dioxide emissions. 1 ton of cement that is used leads to 0.8 to 0.9 tons of carbon dioxide emission. That's the ordinary Portland cement, that is what it does. And the concrete consumption is increasing, and that is why I started initially with Viksit Bharat. That means a lot of infrastructure is to come, which means a lot of concrete is to be used. Globally already it is exceeding 10 billion tons a year. So now there is already discussions on going for the green concrete, the sustainable concrete. So what is sustainable concrete? So basically it means that you can't do away with cement, of course, but you can reduce the usage of the cement by using what is called SCMs. SCMs stands for supplementary cementitious material. That means you use fly ash or the silica fumes, or GGBS stands for ground granulated blast furnace slag. You use them as additives that reduces your cement requirement, and I'll just justify in the next slide, and maybe you'll be surprised, with seeing the figures. So if you do this, and along with the process improvements and design economy, it saves a lot on the carbon dioxide emission. Just see this. I've just taken those figures this morning itself for my own project. The total amount of concrete that we are planning to use in the underground from Mominpur to Esplanade would be around 5 lakh m3 concrete, out of which these SCMs will not be allowed in 2 lakh concrete. So in 3 lakh m3 concrete, they can be used. So the approximate cement consumption in this 3 lakh m3 concrete would be 1.3 lakh tons. If you use these SCMs, which we are doing, we save 27,000 tons. So approximately in turns it leads to saving of 24,000 tons of carbon dioxide emission. So considering 4 years as a construction period, it means you're saving 6,000 tons of carbon dioxide per year right at the construction stage. So this is where the entire construction industry has to move forward for doing their bit to make the planet greener. I've brought some of the samples of a mixed design that we are using, can be taken as a reference, where this is fly ash, this is microsilica, and this is GGBS. We have constructed, sir, do I have 2-3 minutes time?
We'll come to an end because...
Okay. So I'll just show you one of the model rooms that we have made here. Can you just play this video from there? Can you play this video? There is a video attached. So this is near Victoria Station. We have a beautiful model room for construction, and it displays state-of-the-art technology that is being used right in Kolkata, near Victoria. It has the 3D models of all these stations, the tunnels that is being done. This is the instruments that are used, to monitor the vibrations and the deflection of the buildings. That's a 3D model of the Majerat, and this is the proposed Esplanade station. This is a model of the tunnel boring machine that is presently working there. Thank you, and I use this opportunity to invite all of you to visit our model room and be my guest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vipin Kumar, for the excellent presentation and for setting the theme and tone of this session on, bringing the net carbon to zero by 2030. Without any further, I don't think we need to overemphasize the fact that metro systems around the world are one of the most important means for decarbonizing transport. And I think we are all familiar how it happens. So nevertheless, we move on to the next speaker, Mr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma, Chief Materials Manager from Eastern Railway.
5 minutes will do?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Good morning. There is a book we have all read, movie we have all seen, Alice in Wonderland. And one sentence from there is, "My dear, Here you have to run as fast as you can to remain where you are. If you have to reach anywhere, you have to run twice as fast. So this is where we are and why. I'll just make 3 quick points and then go to Sanjeev sir's guidance on how to take this forward. जो दुनिया हम देखते हैं वो एकदम बदल गई है और 3 चीज़ें जो हो रही हैं, जो मैक्रो ट्रेंड्स हैं. एक ये है कि जो आर्ग्यूमेंट हम लोग दिया करते थे इंडस्ट्री प्रोटेक्शन के लिए, डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज दे रहे हैं. नॉन टेरिफ बैरियर्स आ रहे हैं, जियोपॉलिटिकल विंड्स, जियोपॉलिटिकल अनसर्टेनिटीज आर वेरी हाई. दैट इज वन. सेकेंड इज rapidly urbanizing India. The Vipin, what he was showing, the need for metro. We already have about say 35% people living in urban India. By another 10 years, 15 years down the line, we will have almost 70 crore people living in urban areas. And these people, the young India is aspirational, young India is educated, young India is demanding more and consuming more. What it means is that the growth that we see, which is both supply side and demand side factors, so infrastructure investment is pushing growth on one side and also catering to the aspirational needs. On the other side, there is a demand. Demand for getting more, demand for more sustainability, demand for better infrastructure. Now, when you look at all these 3 things combined, you see the developments are catering to basically these things. So both B2E exports are becoming challenges because of the environmental norms. B2C, consumer is demanding more. They are expecting more accountability in terms of both social and environmental. So businesses are evolving to appreciate and meet those challenges. And the scale that we are talking about, जो growth India की 7%, 8% की rate पे हो रही है, this is being driven by clusters, urban clusters. It is not city-centric anymore. These are the clusters. When you see those clusters, say NCR is moving as a whole, Bangalore, Mysuru region is moving as a whole. And these clusters are demanding more, both in terms of mobility, people mobility and freight mobility. And that is leading to a change we are seeing in approach, or a strategic shift that we are seeing. The strategy that India has adopted is based on pillars that address these concerns or these issues. One, the comparative advantage or the USP of business to sustain will have to factor in or will have to be based on these norms. Number 2, the comparative or extension to this argument is that the comparative advantage which used to come from economies of scale and economies of scope to customization, now it is economy of connectedness, networks. How connected are you in terms of the supply chain? How seamlessly connected are you in terms of supply chain, in terms of your mobility, in terms of multimodality, in terms of different organs working together? And third, these challenges also give an opportunity. How eager and how willing are you to exploit those opportunities? So I'll give a couple of examples in terms of how people are exploiting these opportunities. Indian Railways is coming with a lot of initiatives like GCT policy. Highway, NHAI has created SPV, NHLML. They are also coming up with a policy. Port, in the morning, Ratindra was talking about a lot of work ports are doing. But how do you bring them together? So I'll just take one example. Maruti, they have a plant in Sanand where I worked as DRM. And I have seen the automobiles from about 5% moving through the rail, now it is more than, I think it is close to 25% now. 5 rakes to 6 rakes every day. Automobiles moving through rail and then ship. So for example, Pipavav, sir, where you were, exports, Maruti is making exports from Pipavav and it is all moving through rail. Maruti is sending vehicles to eastern India, they are sending vehicles to southern India, they are all moving by rail, about 6 rakes per day. And it has not only increased their ESG performance, it has increased their profitability, it has increased modal share, it has made the entire thing cleaner, greener, and faster. Second example we could take is what Arvind Mills is doing, how industry is responding to these challenges. Now, Arvind Mills is world's largest manufacturer of denims. They have huge facilities in Santej and in Ahmedabad. So they have taken this as an opportunity. And can you believe a chemical-based industry is net negative in terms of water usage? They take sewer water and give out, after the processing, they give to the city clean, potable water. And their connected supply chain ensures from seed to cotton to fabric to dyeing, everything is traceable. It has given them comparative advantage abroad. Whatever the tariffs may come, Urban Denim is managing and growing. So opportunities are there. Railways are investing big. Highways are investing big. Ports are investing big. PM Gati Shakti tries to bring them together, but industry also has a role to play. Industry can look for these opportunities. Industry can find their bearings. Industry can use these initiatives and grow more competitive globally. Make in India for the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for your crisp delivery and lecture. I think you really highlighted the role of non-tariff barriers, rapid urbanization, and increased demand for sustainable infrastructure in playing the role for bringing about net carbon emissions to the lowest level possible. And of course, the connectivity of supply chains and the exploitation of such opportunities for, again, in the wake of ESG, modal share, and sustainability in infrastructure. We move on to the next speaker. He's available with us online. Mr. Priyank Raj Purohit, Principal Product Manager, India Fastenings and SRS, Pendrol Rahi Technologies Private Limited. Over to you, Mr. Raj Purohit.
Thank you very much, sir, for the brief introduction. I hope I am audible there.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, my flight got cancelled at the last minute, and thank you, ICC, for being considerate and giving me opportunity to present online. I would like to share the presentation so that we can talk about a couple of things which we are doing for sustainability in our company. Hope my screen is visible, sir.
Yes, we can see.
Right.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. First of all, good afternoon, respected moderator, sir, Mr. Sanjeev Garg, respected panel members, present dignitaries, industry members, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to the organizers for taking up this very important topic, greening the rails and powering the nation. I think there is no better time than talking about this. I can say also that we are a bit late, but nevertheless, we have a lot to do in this particular thing regarding sustainability in India. But I should say that, I am proud to work in an industry which contribute to the greenest mode of surface transportation, which is railway transportation. And I'm sure most of us who are present in this forum share the same sentiment and emotion that we are part of a very sustainable mode of transport, and we are contributing to sustainability overall. And as my previous speaker mentioned, that any investment in the railway or metro is basically not just investment in sustainability, but it also brings safety because we have seen accidents, in the roads. The statistics are very grave. So any investment in urban transport, in the railways, basically bring down the passenger in the road and basically contribute to the safety of the passenger, which is very much important for us to be a developed nation by 2047. Now, talking about my company, Pandrol, we work as a joint venture company in India, Pandrol Rahi Technology, and Pandrol is part of the French group called Delatio. We have a very elaborated CSR program, and we call it We, Our Worldwide Engagement. And we publish the CSR report every year, where we talk about what we have achieved in terms of CSR goals by talking about strategies, target, actions, and progress. And there are five main pillars: safety, sustainability, ethics, leadership, etc. And Delatio Group is also part of the Global Compact. It is signatory since 2017, which basically work on 17 sustainable development goals. These goals are oriented around human rights, international labor standards, environment, and anti-corruption. Coming to Pandrol, which is basically a manufacturer and supplier of product to the track industries in railway and urban transport. We are very much committed to our goals, for sustainability and decarbonization. And there are four main levers in these goals. First is customers. We work closely with the customer to identify the low carbon solution. And wherever we have alternative, we try to say or propose to customer that, see, this is the solution which contribute to less carbon emission. So this is also one of the sustainability goal which we try to do through the customer's discussion. The second is product. So we conduct carbon audits in our product. So there is an entire value chain which get audited, and there are defined method in international practice called EPD, Environmental Product Declaration, and PCF, Product Carbon Footprint, and which gives you a carbon equivalent which is being emitted in the environment, and also the other environmental emissions or impact which you have by producing the product and supplying it through the entire value chain assessment. We also work on the energy efficiency of our manufacturing site, and also we promote installing the renewable energy methods like solar panels in our manufacturing units, so that we can reduce the energy consumption from the grid, and which comes mainly from India to thermal. So any contribution come from this renewable energy is going to reduce the carbon emission in our manufacturing site. We also encourage our suppliers to adopt low carbon alternative, and we also work closely with the suppliers on achieving these goals. Our ambitions are, so we have started monitoring our scope 1 and scope 2 emissions. So scope 1 is basically the direct emissions which comes from our own operation, production units, etc. And scope 2 are basically the electricity we consume in our operations. So we are monitoring since 2019, and we have ambitious target of reducing these by 46% till 2030. Similarly, scope 3, which is basically coming from indirect emission through our value stream and supply chain. So any industry which basically rely on the partners, the suppliers, the raw material suppliers, the small product suppliers, we also rely on our suppliers. And the scope 3 covers these stakeholders, and we also work with these stakeholders, and we have ambitious targets of reducing this by 25% from the target of 2023 till 2030. Now, talking about these and bringing the numbers here so that it gives you an idea, we have already reduced significantly our scope 1 emission, which is basically our direct emission during the manufacturing of the product. We also have scope 2 emission, which is coming from the electricity consumption, which is also a lower number, 6%. But as you can see, much of this emission comes from scope 3, where we rely on our partner to supply goods and services. And there a major chunk still remain where we are working with our partner. There is also, as government policies are coming up with more sustainable mode of transport, we also hope to reduce our freight carbon emission in upstream and downstream freight. Major contributor in this is steel, fastener, plastics, casting, etc. Now, talking about the detailed levers in reducing these carbon footprint, we of course, as I said, we conduct audits through EPDs, Environmental Product Declaration, and find a low carbon solution after these audits to understand if we have alternatives, so why not use alternative which can reduce the carbon footprint. We also encourage using the recycled material. We also encourage circular economy solution, and we also have supplier engagement where we talk about the sustainable development goals together and try to work together. Now, talking about the audits we conduct on our product, one example is the screw spike, which comes from the supplier. So the carbon footprint, when we talk about 1 kg of screw spike, it contributes to 2.09 kg of CO2 equivalent emission. And this gives you a number, and when you improve the values chain, you bring some improvement, and then you can clearly see what is the impact, because if you can't measure, you can't improve. So by doing these audits, we actually measure what emissions are coming out because of our own products in the environment. Similarly, EPD, which stands for Environmental Product Declaration, it not only talk about the global warming potential through equivalent CO2, but it also talk about the other parameters which influence the environment, like depletion potential of the stratospheric ozone layer, acidification potential, etc., etc. And it's a very elaborate study of the the product, and which we have to involve expert third parties who do transparent audit of these product. And one example is Nabla clip, which we supply to France. It is extensively supplied in French network and other African networks and Europe. And this example shows that about 500 grams of Nabla clip can give you an equivalent of CO2 of 1.48 kg and the other parameter. And then it gives you a benchmark to improve upon through your processes. Now, talking about product innovation, we have a big portfolio of sustainable resilient system, and all these products made from the rubber tires which are discarded after the end of the life, especially from the buses and the trucks. These big the tires are basically recycled in established recycling plants, and these comply with the UIC and EN standard, and we basically check through very strict quality processes. And then these granules are used to make the product which are used in the tracks. These are established product like embedded track solution, Q-track. Similarly, so these blue color track solution which you see, which is basically holding the rail, and then you can pour around the concrete here. So this is already being tried in India, and we see a popularity coming for these kind of solution in India. Similarly, floating slab mat. So these are the noise and vibration attenuation solution which goes below the slab track, and which is very much necessity in the urban metro transport, where the noise and vibration can have a nuisance in the residential area. So these floating slab mat helps to reduce these noise and vibration. Coming to the conventional ballasted track, we have under sleeper pad which goes below the sleepers, and this is also again made from the same sustainable resilient system which is coming from recycled rubber, and these goes below the sleepers, and it reduces the forces on the ballast, and the ballast life improves, which means you need less ballast, renewals, less mining, less environmental impact. Plus you can also reduce the ballast thickness layer by introducing these cushion through these sustainable resilient pads. So this helps overall in the reducing the environment impact. Similarly, we have under ballast mat which are used in the transition areas between the tunnels and the ballasted track. So as we can see, these kind of solution, innovative solution, can reduce the carbon footprint by 25 to 50% compared to the alternative polyurethane-based solutions which are available in the market. And these solutions have been already installed since last 25 years across Europe, Etihad Rail, in tramways, in the urban project of metro, and these are established products. These are not experimental or new products. Coming to one of the other product, which is a fasting system. Fasting system, as we know, it's produced and installed in bulk quantity. Millions of components are installed in the track, and any small improvement can bring a significant improvement overall. So here, if I compare a traditional W14 fasting system, which is popular in Europe, and we have come with the innovative fasting system SD, which we are able to reduce through modern technology the overall weight of the components. And we can say in a per kilometer track, we have reduced a 1.5 tons of raw material through our engineering and use of the right precise, the material, the plastics and the steel. And this is how we are also able to reduce the 25% emission, coming from these kind of fasting system. Talking about operational efficiency, we continuously work to improve. So in our Hyderabad factory, once we started producing with the line 1, we have used furnace based on the experience from UK. But as we have experience, we could reduce the power of the furnace, which basically improve not just reducing the energy consumption, but also leads to the reduction in the carbon emission. And this is a continuous improvement process which keep on happening every time we take decision in Hyderabad factory, which basically reduce our energy consumption as well as reduce the CO2 emission which we have in the environment.
I think we've lost the link. So
we also hold.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we
can
lost.
You hear me, sir?
Yeah, continue. But your voice is fading, I think, again and again. No, I think the link is gone again. So I think we'll.
Sorry, audible now?
Yeah. Okay. Can you quickly wind up because the link is getting faded again and again?
Yeah. Okay. I'm towards the end of the presentation, sir. I think this is.
Yeah, I think you. Yeah. I think we've got a hang of your whole presentation, and basically, I mean, I can say that
right.
As a railwayman, more than 4 decades ago, we heard of Pendrol clips, which we thought was something generic. So, but it's interesting to find that actually Pendrol is the name of a company. So, but then we as young railwaymen never knew that. We thought it's some generic name that's being used. And throughout our service career, we heard of Pendrol clips. And the role, of course, we knew that it helps in fastening the track and reducing the friction and also, basically making your ride smoother. So we move on now. Thank you, Mr. Rajpurohit, for your presentation. And we move on now to our next speaker, Mr. Ranit Rana. He is the AVP Sales and Distribution in Jindal Stainless. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. Garg. Good morning to all the dignitaries, both on and off the dais, and good morning, my friends. It's always a pleasure, to speak on railways because I, and of course we, are extremely proud of what railways has done, what they are doing, and what they are going to do in the near future. So I'll just, few facts which come to my mind is it's the 4th largest railway network in the world. It has a track length of about 1.23 lakhs kilometers. It operates 7,335 stations. And if you look at the passengers, moved by railways, so I think it's about 23 lakh passengers per day. For Indian Railways, for metro, I think it's about 46 lakh. And if you look at the freight, it's about 4.4 million tons of freight moved by railway. So the numbers are humongous, and it's really a matter of pride for all of us what railways is doing. And in fact, going forward, they have embarked on a very steep growth trajectory. So if you look at the number of, the amount of freight that railways intend to move, it's about 3.2 billion from the current 1.6. This is by 2030. They also want to, their target is to manufacture, 400 Vande Bharat trains over the next 4 or 5 years. And I was also reading that there are about 822 projects which are in progress, totaling about 20,000 billion rupees. So, so that's a huge, huge number. And even when we look at sustainability per se, I think Railways is the only organization, which has taken a very, very steep target of becoming a net zero carbon emitter by 2030. So, when we look at global railways, there are 4 areas which they are focusing on. One is efficiency, how do we increase the efficiency? Sustainability. Third is passenger experience, and fourth is optimization of freight operations. Now, since the topic for today is sustainability, so I'll just focus on that, and I'd quickly jotted down few points. So allow me to just, enumerate them, and then I'll speak a little bit about them in details. So first and foremost comes material selection. So the focus is on developing lighter rolling stock, be it in terms of coaches or wagons. Second is shift from road to railways. Third is electrification. Fourth, decongestion of the railway network. Fifth, having a hydrogen economy. Sixth is renewable energy. So these are, the 5 or 6 key areas which Railways is currently focusing on in terms of sustainability. Now, just coming back to each of these points, when we look at lightweight rolling stock, so we've all heard about Vande Bharat trains, and let me tell you, Indian Railways has already taken that step forward. Normally, the trains which have been running till date, they are made out of a ferritic stainless steel, low strength but corrosion resistant. Now they have graduated to a high strength austenitic stainless steel. These are premium grades of stainless steel which have enabled railways, to cut down about 2 tons per coach as far as the Vande Bharat trains are concerned. And there are few more components like underframes and bogie frames, which, if they are converted, it would give them a potential weight reduction of about 4 tons per coach. Similarly, for wagons also, there is a potential by using high-strength material. It could be stainless steel, where it is possible to reduce about 1.5 to 2 metric ton per wagon. And, there is a study which has been done by the Institute of Energy Heidelberg, along with the global, International Aluminium Association, where they have, analyzed what could be the carbon dioxide emission savings, depending upon the weight reduction for different categories of rolling stock. Normally, I have a presentation on that, but unfortunately today it's not there with me. But if you do that calculation, depending upon the weight reduction, which I have just mentioned, and multiplying that with the number of the wagons and the coaches that are being produced annually, it's about 8,000, 9,000 coaches per annum, and on average 30,000 wagons per annum. So over the total life of 35 years, it is possible to save 18 million tons of carbon dioxide. And just to give you an idea about what that amounts to in terms of monetary values, there is a study which has been done by Indian Railways along with a UK-based consultant, and they say that if we are able to cut down by 15 million tons of carbon dioxide, the savings would be 17,600 crores. So that's the first and foremost focus of railways, having lightweight rolling stock. And even if you look at the bullet trains, which are coming very soon on the Mumbai-Ahmedabad corridor, Indian Railways have specified austenitic stainless steel for that. Now, since there are, railway dignitaries present over here, my only, request to you is, you have converted the Vande Bharats, you have converted the high-speed trains in austenitic stainless steel, but the LHP coaches today, they still run with ferritic stainless steel. There is a huge potential of weight reduction if you convert that material also into premium austenitic stainless steel. Coming to the second point, that is the shift in the mode of transport. Yes, today, railways are at a much lower point. I think it's in terms of freight, it moves about 27% of the total freight, and the target is to increase it to 45%. Now, why is that important? Because when we look at the carbon dioxide emissions, across rail, freight, and air, road, and air for freight, for railways, the savings in carbon dioxide is 9.5 grams of carbon dioxide per ton kilometer. When we look at road, it's about 96 grams of carbon dioxide per ton kilometer. If we look at air, it's about 946. When we look at the passengers, the amount of carbon dioxide that gets saved is about 11 grams of carbon dioxide per passenger kilometer, as compared to 108 in terms of road and air. So it's imperative that if you are able to become a net zero carbon emitter, we must shift from road and air to railways. Second is decongestion, because electrification, as I understand, and as many of the dignitaries have already mentioned, railways have achieved almost 98% of electrification, which is extremely, which is remarkable. So moving on to the next point, that is decongestion of railway network. Now, I was reading that if you look at the total railway network in the country, 45% of the railway network has less than 70% of capacity utilization. About 22% has a capacity utilization between 75 and 100. About 26% is between 100 and 150, and more than 1% more than 1% is above 150% capacity utilization. So that's another area which we need to focus on, and I think one of the speakers mentioned that there is a focus on digital automatic coupler. We call it DAC, through which the railways, the time taken for coupling of different wagons, it's going to become automated, and therefore it's going to reduce drastically. It's the latest technology which is being applied across the world, and the European Union, they are the leaders in this, and I think they have a target of implementing DAC couplers for almost 5 lakh freight trains by 2030. Moving over to hydrogen economy, that's another area which we really need to focus on, because if we look at what is happening globally, there are about 71 or 77 hydrogen trains which are running, and in few countries like Germany, which is the leader in this technology, they have about 41 hydrogen trains running for commercial purpose also. This is very important because in India today also, there's a trial which is going on with a hydrogen train running between Jind and Sonepat. But primarily what I've read is the hydrogen trains in India are for heritage purpose. And they intend to have about 35 hydrogen trains, but we need to move away from heritage and commercialize that. And renewable energy, we had spoken about, decongestion. So these are, some of the areas which I wanted to highlight, in terms of sustainability, which could be the focus areas. There are challenges to surmount, but, given the given the skills, the expertise, the resources available with Indian Railways, I believe, these challenges would be surmounted quite easily, and Indian Railways is going to move to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rana, for giving us your views on bringing about sustainability in the Indian railway transport system. You mentioned various things like material selection, renewable energy, modal shift, railway electrification, decongestion of the railway network, and hydrogen trains, which can be used for bringing about this kind of sustainable move for net carbon to zero by 2030. One or two caveats which I would like to mention. Regarding renewable energy, you rightly said that Indian Railways have reached almost beyond 90% of the system on working on electric traction. The only unfortunate thing is that most of the energy that the Indian Railways is using, that is electrical energy, is drawn from thermal power stations. So therefore, you have only shifted the location of the polluting source of energy from, let's say, a metropolitan area to some other place, maybe to the pithead power plants or the port-based power plants or coastal power plants. The real challenge is to make this energy, electrical energy, coming from renewable sources of energy. Then we can actually really say that we have brought about this sustainability, which we are talking about. And the other thing is about decongestion of the railway network. Very correct. That is where I think the challenge for the Indian Railways is that we need to draw the Indian Railways, that is the mainline railways, from short distance passenger traffic. I mean, that passenger segment needs to be shifted to either the metro railways or to roads, and leave the system free for movement of long distance passenger traffic and freight. Because unfortunately, the Indian Railways have underpriced the passenger traffic. As we know that only 55% recovery of the, for each passenger kilometer that, let's say 100 rupees you are incurring, only 55 rupees is being recovered from the passenger. So that is actually, anything that you sell cheap, if you give free or cheap, people misuse it, and it doesn't really lead to the objectives that you have. So until you rightly price that thing, as John Maynard Keynes said, there is nothing like a free lunch. Somebody has to pay for it. So therefore, if we have to really decongest the Indian railway network, we have to shift this short distance passenger traffic to the metro railways or to the road, and then efficiently haul freight traffic and the long distance passenger traffic, which will therefore bring us the right kind of results. So we come to the end of this session on net sustainability coming to zero by 2030, etc. We have already run short of time. We'll probably take one question only on the condition, no observations, and the question should not be more than 10 words. And of course, if there's somebody, he can quickly introduce himself and ask a short question. Thank you.
First of all, very, very good morning. And I'm Bhushan Agarwal, President, Indian Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, sir.
I apologize for not being present in the initial time because I had some schedule. So first of all, let me congratulate, and we come from the metal industry, Shyam Metallic, and we are into steel, stainless steel, carbon steel, and we are also into the aluminum sheets we are making for, So I'm very well aware about the railway developments, what Mr. Rana said. I must congratulate this department in the system. Like, I understand it's a spine for the nation, and we have to understand and appreciate, the kind of effort what as a department of railway is taking up on the R&D side. It is a spine for the country, whether we talk of the goods, whether we talk of the manufacturing, we talk of the passengers, we talk of reducing the emission. So we are also now setting up a railway wagon plant as well, in Bengal. I think it is one of the plant after decades which is coming up. And we are also focusing on the aluminiums for the railways, stainless steel for the railways, and the carbon steel plates. So thank you so much for being here. It is our pleasure to hear a lot more on certain new development which is coming up. As we rightly said, that we are focusing on the reduction on the carbon emission, which is a great initiative and the need for the country. And I believe, we have a very large requirement to cater to our population and the growth in the country. Like when we are talking from the growth prospect, it is everything, it starts from railways and it's never end till the end. So we have to be very focused on this development side, and congratulations to all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Agarwal. It's nice to hear from the President of the Indian Chamber of Commerce at the end of this session. I think we'll call it a day. And thank you, everybody, for being patiently listening to the panel speakers. And I'm sure there have been some important takeaways from this session, which we can all deliberate outside during our lunch session. Because the next session has to start, we come to an end in this session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sanjeev sir, you're always considerate. Thank you. And we thank the entire panelists for their remarkable deliberation. Now we would extend our respect through the felicitation of the dignitaries. To honor the same, I would like to call upon Mr. Loya on the dais, please. Yeah. Mr. Sanjeev Garg, sir, can you please step forward? Can we have a round of applause, please? Vipin, sir? Sudhir, sir? Mr. Rana, please. Mr. Purohit, we would get it delivered to your office. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now we move on to our second technical session, Enlightened Electrification, Renewables and Green Freight. Of course, of course. We can have a group photograph. Sure. Request all the speakers to come on forth. Bhushan sir, would you want to join? Mr. Loya? Thank you everyone for enlightening us with this wonderful session. Thank you.